BBA 104 Indian Ethos and Business Ethics. In this subject, we will understand the meaning of Indian ethos, how it has been of utter relevance for the current times, how to use them for social responsibilities, and multiple other things. In the first unit, we'll talk about the need, purpose, and relevance of Indian ethos. Introduction to Indian ethos. The simple meaning of ethos is the guiding principle of a person, group, or an organization. Ethos is a set of beliefs, ideas, etc. about social behavior and relationship of a person or group. Indian ethos refers to the principles of self-management and governance of society, entity or a system by wisdom as revealed and brought forth by great scriptures like the Vedas, Upanishads, Gita, Mahabharata, Bible, and Quran. Indian ethos are sense of ultimate values and provides a sum total of values and determines the way of life inspired by fundamental values in which people live. They provide the holistic approaches by which we may develop the purification of mind for harmony in society. Indian ethos contributed basic ideas and thoughts to formulate the vision of spirituality and proper amicable way for well-being of society. In fact, we give due honor to truth, honesty, and humanity, which are the essence of our ethos. So basically, Indian ethos talks about how we should live our life. It does not say how what you should work with, what should be your skills, your talents. It gives you the way of leading your life guided by values, morals, ethics, and a basic desire to give back to the society. Let's talk about the features of Indian ethos. Firstly, divinity of human being. Indian ethos focuses on the existence of human being as truth. There is nothing more perfect than the supreme soul. It believes that what we have inside us, our supreme soul, there is nothing above it. We should worship it as like our own God. We should treat it for the utmost importance. Balance or equilibrium. Balance or equilibrium is a stable state of Indian thought that is balance between desire and desireless position, spiritual and secular values, subjective and materialistic world. So, Indian ethos does not say that all of us have to lead a life like sannyasis. It says that we have to strike a balance between our materialistic desires and our intrinsic desires, and how to fulfill our soul, which is we just said is the supreme for all of us. Balance of personal and work life. This is of utmost importance in today's time, and Indian ethos focuses on the concept that if you are a good, then the world is also good for you. So every individual should have an effective management and balance of personal and work life in the organization, because both hold equal importance for you. Cosmic or pure consciousness. The divine element, which is an inner part of an individual, is a part of cosmic or pure consciousness. It gives base for mutual trust, cooperative teamwork, or common good. So when you have a pure conscience, you do not have any evil or harm in your heart for anybody else. This is automatically, if all of us operate in that way, we will automatically lead to a society which is a good place to live in, a world that is helpful for everybody. Importance to character. The Indian ethos gives much importance to character, not to knowledge. It is the character which is the real power and wealth. So a person has to, a child is born and he or she builds a character over the period of time. And we have to give due importance to it, because if we are not ethically right, which is the one which is driving our character, we might not be a good person to live with, a good person who is contributing to the society. So we have to give most importance to our character. Next, wholeness approach. Indian ethos is based on Indian scriptures like the Shrutis of Gita and Upanishads and Smritis of Purans. Indian thought provides the wholeness approach through knowledge of creation, cosmos, and internal relation between spiritual and materialistic life. So you have to have a wholeness approach when you're leading life. You cannot say that I just want to earn money and have materialistic possessions, but your soul is not satisfied. Your soul is not happy with what you're doing. You are not happy as a person with what you're doing. So that might not give you a wholeness and happiness or complete feeling in life. So that is what Indian ethos suggests, that you have to look at things with this approach, that I have to satisfy the common good, the bigger good, and my own self. Work is worship. Indian ethos works with the fact that all work is worthy and honorable. Work is worship is the guiding principle for all efforts as advocated in the Indian ethos. Later in this subject, we'll learn about the Varnas, which explain this feature of Indian ethos really well. It says that whatever work we are doing, we should do it with utmost honesty and with pure heart. No work is big, no work is small. And that is what it keeps suggesting to us. Next is duty and responsibility. Indian ethos rarely talks about rights. It always emphasizes on the duties and responsibilities of human beings. So, if we talk about rights immediately, we say we are entitled to this, but we keep forgetting about our duties and our responsibilities. There are a lot of times that we neglect them to ensure that our selfish interests and gains are fulfilled, which is not what Indian ethos suggests. Next, knowledge. Indian ethos deals with two types of knowledge of creation and knowledge of creator. We need to understand both in depth, which we'll do further in the course of subject. Excellence at work. According to Indian ethos, the total quality management can be assured through excellence at work, through self motivation and self development. Indian ethos gives a lot of importance to your internal motivation and how you drive your own self. And how can we exceed at work is if we are self motivated and we know what we want to achieve at work. Coming to next topic, that is need and relevance of Indian ethos. Elucidate motivation. The concept of motivation can be explained holistically by Indian ethos. Considering motivation as internal, every human being has the same divine Atma with immense potentialities within. Vedas bring infinite expansions of the mind, breaks down all the barriers and brings out God in the man. Motivation is to be internal and not external. Such motivation involves the inner beauty and does not promote any greed in an individual to have more and more in return for his work. So that's what the Vedas say, that motivation comes from within. It does not come from my teacher has given me extra marks or my teacher is giving me an extra attendance and hence I should attend the class. No, I should want to attend the class because I want to learn, I want to grow. And that is how you say that your motivation is coming from within. The second top point, the need, is maintain holistic universe. Modern science has accepted that in this holistic universe, all minds and matters are interconnected at a deeper level. The basic unity of life cannot be broken. Love, sacrifice, therefore emerges as only means for meaningful living. On the basis of this holistic visions, Indians have developed work ethos of life. This helps in living life to the fullest. What this means is that we do not operate as a single unit. We have a whole universe that is revolving around us. And all of us are contributing to the universe in some or the other way. So we have to take care of our actions and our thoughts accordingly to maintain this holistic universe. Next is welfare. Indian ethos teaches welfare of all, the Yagna spirit. Atmano mokarth jagat hitaya. Serve your personal interests but do not forget others. This is the philosophy needed in the modern times. We cannot be selfish. We have to think about the society. Let's take the example of the pandemic that we had just gotten over in the last couple of years. If all of us had been selfish about how I can do things, of how can I get the resources, would have we been able to survive the pandemic the way we did? We would not have been. We needed each other's support. We needed each other's help to get through it. And we as a society has demonstrated this at a very good level during the pandemic. Next is the evenness of mind. Indian ethos helps in evenness of mind. Means are equally important as the ends. Thus, society acceptable values are to be followed in determining the objectives as well as the process of achieving these objectives. So, means and ends. Means are the path that you follow to meet your end goal or your end desire. And if we our end goal is something like I want to own a big house, but I follow the mean of taking it away someone from who owns it, or harming someone while trying to get the house, is that the right way to do it? No, it is not. So when you're operating in a society, if you want your ends to fulfill, you have to make sure that you're engaging in ethical ways, ethical means to achieve those. I cannot be rich by pickpocketing. I cannot be rich by stealing. I cannot be rich by taking away which is what is not mine. That is not going to help us, which is what it talks about here. Next point is the unique work culture. Indian ethos helps in development of unique work culture. Work is considered as a duty or sadhana, and there is no difference between karma and dharma. The term dharma does not indicate any particular religion. It talks about it as a duty to be performed in a given situation. Thus, dharma is only possible through karma. So it talks about how our karma and dharma are the two sides of the same coin. We cannot fulfill our karma. We cannot fulfill our dharma without doing our karma. And dharma is not talking about a religion here. It is talking about our duties and our responsibilities as people towards the society. Next point is provides concentration. Vedas provides the ways and means of controlling the mind. It helps to concentrate, increase efficiency, productivity, and prosperity. It is not religion of resignation and retirement. One cannot renounce their action. As the Gita says, you have to be a man of action. Do not run away from your action or karma, but the same should be according to your dharma. The second aspect is while doing the karma, do not be tempted by worldly pleasures, materialism, and the results. One has to be a man of action, working in a spirit of renunciation. Renunciation does not mean living in a life of isolation or living in a forest. One has to face the world and should not run away from an action. Do not get attached to anything. So what it means with providing concentration is that while you're fulfilling your duties and you're performing your, that is your dharma, and performing the actions to fulfill your duty, which is your karma, do not engage and do not get attached to worldly materialistic possessions and forget your dharma. You have to be concentrated on what you have to achieve, what your end goal is, and focus on that. It does not talk about that you have to live a life of a sannyasi, but it says that everything will come to you eventually. Just keep doing your karma and everything will be fulfilled. Next topic is self-development. Integrated human personality or self-developed manager can assure best and competent management of any enterprise involving collective works and efforts. The refined or higher consciousness will adopt holistic attitude. It will bring out the divine in man. It will achieve the perfection or excellence in whatsoever sector of work. One shall achieve peace, harmony, and prosperity within and without, that is the internal world and the external world, simultaneously. When you're focusing on your own growth, when you're focusing on your own development, then only can you be a good manager, a good leader. Because how can one guide if their internal soul is not driven, is not motivated, is not feeling fulfilled in itself? So the first focus on anybody before becoming a manager or a leader should be self-development. The next point is establishes value system. Many of the present ills are the results of decline in our value system and loss of character. Forces of intense competition in the technology-driven era of globalization have taken a heavy toll of traditional values. People need to re-imbibe the Sanatan values of honesty, integrity, compassion, care, and cooperation. So, today we see a lot of instances where we feel that this seems unethical to us. But if we keep ourselves in the shoes of the people who have performed those, sometimes even we might, be slightly pulled towards the unethical ways. But that is what we need to do. We need to create a value system that nothing can lure us into giving up on our value system. There are certain values that the Indian ethos talks about, which is mentioned here also. There are Sanatan values of honesty, be truthful, be honest, integrity. In whatever you are doing, you should have your integrity. Compassion, always think of the other person as well while taking a decision, taking an action. Care for people, care for the world, care for everything. We would not have been in a situation of the environmental crisis that we are today if we had cared about our mother nature. And cooperation. Competition has overpowered everything in the world today, and cooperation is a value that we're forgetting slowly. So we need to re-imbibe all these values in us, and just imagine a world that where everybody is operating with these values to their utmost capacity. What a beautiful world that would be to live in. Now let's talk about the history of Indian ethos. Formally, the body language, which derives the solution from the rich and huge Indian system of ethos, is known as Indian ethos management. Indian ethos is more vital to modern management than any other management theory, for simple reason that it takes into account a whole man approach, which we have mentioned earlier also, rather than approaching the man in a partial fashion. We're always talking about people here that we have to think of the internal system and the external system when we're talking about. Each and every situation can be met effectively if one takes the time to reflect over it. Reflection with a tranquil mind helps in drawing out solution from within. Such guidance from within helps a manager look at the perceived problem situation in a creative manner. It leads to a more coherent and complete understanding. So, if any manager, before taking a decision, thinks it from the personal perspective, the other stakeholders who are involved, and how that decision is going to impact the bigger good, how wholesome that result or that decision would be, and that is what Indian ethos suggests. Now, let's look about the silent ideas and thoughts of Indian ethos that have been developed over the period of time. The first is Arche Dhan Man Bhai. Worship people not only with material things but also by showing respect to their enterprising divinity within. We go to temples, we see people giving away big donations, big gifts, and other things at the temples, but it's not just the material things that is going to take you closer to God. It is the respect that you show from within, the enterprising divinity within. Once we recognize that for a man or a god, the worship that we're doing is going to be to the next level. And that's what Indian ethos suggests. The next one is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitayach. All work is an opportunity for doing well to the world and thus gaining materially and spiritually in our lives. There is no work in this world which is not going to contribute towards something bigger in this world. Don't think that I'm sitting on my laptop and making a PPT, or I'm in the corporates and how am I going to do big things in life. Nothing of that sort. All of us are going to contribute in some way or the other to the world, and thus while taking every action, doing every action, we should think that how is this opportunity, how is this a chance to do something for the world. Third, Atman Vidyante Virya. Strength and inspiration for excelling in work comes from the divine, God within, through prayer, spiritual reading, and unselfish work. Think of doing a task which is only helping you gain something. Is that going to give you any sort of pleasure? Is that going to give you any sort of peace? But those things are not going to make you feel the inner joy. So when you're doing some work and you're excelling in any work, how you can excel is when you are at peace inside, when you are connected with your spiritual self. Only then you can feel that I have the strength, the motivation, and the dedication to achieve the work that has been given to me. So always focus on self development. And how do we do self development? By focusing on the divine within us, the God within us, the Atma that we say. Yadishi bhavan yasya siddhi bhavati tradisha. As we think, so we succeed, so we become. Attention to means ensure the end. If I talk about this in a today's lingo, we talk about something called manifestation. That is what this point talks about. It says that we think, we have to believe in a goal ourselves. And once we do that, that's when we succeed, that's when we become. Because that's when you start noticing on the path that you can take to achieve your end. So attention to means and ensure the end is that's what it talks about. That you have to focus on the little things that is going to be the step to the ladder, on the ladder that takes you towards your heights that you want to achieve. And that should be your primary focus. Next is Yogaha Karmashu Kaushalam Sattvam Yoga Uchate. He who works with calm and even mind achieves the most. This is something we all aspire to achieve somewhere or the other in life. But honestly, this is a very difficult thing to achieve. Before taking any hasty decision, whenever we do that, there is a probability that I might take a decision which is not going to be good to me, good to be others. So anyone who is working very calmly or has a very even mind, वो सबसे ज़्यादा achieve करता है. Now I want to quote an example here for all of you. All of us are aware of our Indian cricket captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni. We all say that he's the captain cool, he takes the best decision, he's got us the most trophies. Maybe my statistics are wrong, other people have also gotten trophies for us. But why do we always call him Captain Cool? Why do we always see him performing the best even under pressure? Because that's when he achieves calm. That's when he's keeping an even mind, and that's what is helping him to achieve the most. Parsparam bhavatan shreya parabhav bhavasata. By mutual cooperation, respect, and fellow felling, all of us enjoy the highest good, both material and spiritual. Imagine you are with your friend and you do not want them to win. You do not want them to grow in life. Let's take an example of a very not a very common, I must say, like a viewed movie, that would be Three Idiots. We said that there was a very famous dialogue from it कि जब तुम्हारा दोस्त तरक्की करता है तब तुम्हारे को ज़्यादा दुख होता है क्योंकि तुम फेल हो गए. But at the same time, we have seen that friendship of those three people grow throughout the movie where they helped each other achieve their separate goals. And all of them did well in life. How? Because they had the mutual respect. If someone wants to become a photographer, if someone wants to become an engineer, if someone wants to do nothing in their life, we are no one to judge each other. We should have mutual cooperation, respect, and support each other in whichever way they're doing. Now imagine then when you have helped someone achieve their goal, how would you feel inside? You would feel so content, so fulfilled, and that's how you achieve both material and spiritual goal. The next point is Paraspar Devo Bhava. Regard the other person as a divine being. All of us have the same consciousness, though our packages and containers are different. This is very beautifully said. We all come from different religions, sects, castes, everything. But all of us at the end have the indestructible Atma inside us. And that is what we need to respect about the other person. That the other person is also as divine as we are. The other person also has as many struggles as we do. And once we deal with them as a divinity, we start respecting them, we start empathizing with them, and all of these things together make it a holistic world and an approach to achieve your own goals and needs. Tesham Sukham, Tesham Shanti Shashwati. Infinite happiness and infinite peace come to them who see the divine in all beings. Once we start seeing the other person as a divine self, as a person who has the same struggles or the same values, or some values might be more in them and less in us, or more in us and less in them. Once we start recognizing that, we will start experiencing the infinite happiness and infinite peace, which is the end goal that Indian ethos talk about in achieving in life, which we'll again discover over the course of this subject. Now let's talk about the relevance of ethos in present times. Indian ethos see life holistically and talks of perfect synthesis of material, moral, cultural and spiritual values for achieving the ultimate goal of life. In this endeavor, the life is guided by four purushats: dharma, arth, kam, moksha, which again we will discuss in detail in the further course of action. In this particular slide, we'll talk about the concepts from the ancient Indian teaching that will be discussed in context of the modern day life. The first one is understanding. Understand who am I? Self-awareness. We are now luckily operating in a world where self-awareness, emotional intelligence, mental health has become a word of common discussion. Something we all discuss, has become a dining table conversation. But the roots of it goes back to Indian ethos, which talks about understanding, which said that you need to understand who you are, and once you develop that, that's only you are moving towards your dharma, towards your karma. Only then you can perform those things with the fullest. Niksham Seva, working without being affected by the outcome of actions. As the main message of the Lord Krishna in Gita is, you have the right to work, not for its fruits. Karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. This is a very common dialogue that we all have heard while growing up. We hear it now. And that is again a very core principle of Indian ethos. It says keep working. The outcomes will come to you sooner or later. But your duty, your dharma is to be performing your karma. The eternal law of karma, understanding the karmic connection. Indian ethos talks about the fact that the karma never dies. What you have done will come back to you in good, bad, this life, next life, afterlife, to your parents, to your siblings. Somebody will bear the fruits of your karma, be it your good comes or bad come. So you have to understand whatever is happening to you is a result of your own karma in some or the other way. Raja Yoga medicine, a self-healing process. We need, this is what talks about that you need to heal yourself before you start moving towards your next step or your next karma. And you can do it by meditation, you can do it by yoga, which is again we will cover through the course in the coming parts. The art of non-doing. This is a very beautiful concept mentioned in the Indian ethos. It says that working in the conscious, we need to work with the consciousness of being an instrument. We all think that we are achieving something. We are achieving something for the world. We are doing something for the world. But all of this is written. All of this has been planned for you already. You are just an instrument to achieve that thing. Whatever you have created, whatever good you have done for the society, it is not you who has achieved it. It is the divinity, the karmas that have led you to that. And you are just an instrument to achieve that bigger goal. That is the art of not doing. And finally, understanding and managing ego. Ego is the biggest evil that we have within us, and understanding and managing it will help everybody around us and us. Okay. It is most essential to analyze and study the role of Indian ethos to make spiritual and holistic approaches to meet out such responsibility, which is to make self purification by the means of truth and calmness. Question yourself every time that you have done something, a task with complete focus, dedication that you were supposed to, with the calmness, with no hurry. Have you felt a different sort of joy while doing it? That is what self purification, that is the kind of self purification you will achieve once you do things with the means of truth and calmness. Because you will have no dark thoughts occupying your mind, your soul, anything to hide. That is not going to help you. Second, to develop full joyful feelings with highest material and spiritual streams. All of us have, we cannot deny the existence of joy that comes with materialistic possessions. But such joys also come from spiritual streams. Yes, we all reach that state of achieving joy from the spiritual streams through a longer process, but that feeling does come. And that is how it is relevant because if you're feeling the joy within you, that is only when you can exude it outside and give it to the others. To develop mutual trust and cooperation for fellow felons and respect within a social scenario, as we discussed before also in the presentation. To make spiritual opportunities and ways of life within human beings. To analyze and learn the holistic views, concepts, and approaches for human beings. To develop set of beliefs, ideas, and perceptions in society. To develop spiritual divinity and unselfish work, to strengthen inspirational motives to perform the excellence in human life, to develop the ethical norms and standards for the well-being of an individual group in society at large, to move towards eternal truth and enlightenment for positivism in our life. The valuable and pioneering aspects of Indian ethos could be that we need to know ourselves. Our minds need to be pure. We need to think about humanity before taking any decision. We have to have mutual trust. Self introspection is something that is going to help us achieve all of these things. Intuition is something that we have been blessed as human beings, that we have a feeling before we perform an action, and we should always trust that in some form or the other. Value oriented services, that you need to know that whatever I'm doing should be driven by values. The spirit of sacrifice, we cannot be focused just on our own self, we need to have the spirit of sacrifice. Unity or diversity, we need to respect everybody in this world with diverse backgrounds, and that is what is going to lead to a harmonious world. Peace, team spirit, self realization. There's a lot of times that we understand our mistake, but our ego comes in between to accept it and move on. Cooperation, self management, wish less work. As I said, कर्म करो, फल की चिंता मत करो. Dynamic meditation, that you need to focus on your health, physical and mental. Happiness and means are equally important. How we achieve our ends, that is equally important. That's all in the first unit. We will move on to the next unit in the next video. Thank you.